Today's courtroom moment brings us yet another unusual case involving a defendant who decided to challenge the system in her own way. She's back in court after violating probation due to drug use, and instead of relying on the experience of a public defender, she made the bold decision to represent herself. It's a risky move that rarely works in anyone's favor, especially when the stakes are this high. Now, here's where it gets even more curious. Rather than presenting clear arguments of her own, she leaned heavily on what sounded like one of those sovereign citizen-style scripts, long statements about rights and rules that don't actually hold up in real court. From the outside, it's hard to tell if she truly believes in what she's saying or if she simply grabbed a script from the internet and decided to put it to the test. Either way, the result is far from convincing. So, what do you think? Is this someone who genuinely buys into the sovereign playbook, or is she just clinging to borrowed words hoping it will change the outcome? Either way, the hearing made for a tense exchange with the judge, and it didn't take long for things to heat up. Let's step inside the courtroom and see how it all unfolded. With that decision, she may have just lost any real chance of mounting a proper defense. Representing yourself is already a steep challenge, and skipping the opportunity to make an opening statement makes it even harder. In court, those first words are critical. They set the tone, show the judge where you stand, and give at least a glimpse of your side of the story. Instead, she stood silent, leaving the impression that she had nothing meaningful to offer in her own defense. Even though we've all seen defendants rely on those so-called sovereign citizen arguments, the ones claiming the court has no authority or that they exist outside the law, she avoided going down that path. That may have spared the courtroom from unnecessary theatrics, but it also left her case without any foundation at all. When you choose to speak for yourself, skipping the most important step is a costly mistake. The judge notices. The courtroom notices. And without that opening statement, it feels less like a defense and more like resignation. What do you think? Did she just make her case even weaker, or was this part of a bigger plan? Let's head back in and see what happens next. Does anyone else feel even a little sympathy for her? On one hand, she's clearly made mistakes, serious ones, and she's standing in court because of her own choices. But on the other hand, watching her struggle and face such public humiliation is undeniably uncomfortable. There's a part of you that almost wants to look away because the situation feels more painful than powerful, yet when you step back, it's difficult to feel too sorry. She had every chance to make this easier on herself. An attorney was right there, ready to guide her, and she chose to dismiss him. He was calm, composed, and seemingly willing to step in. Yet she decided to stand alone, relying on a strategy that never works. That decision, more than anything else, turned this into the uphill battle we're watching unfold. It's something I'll never quite understand. Why some defendants cling to these so-called sovereign ideas that only set them up for failure. The courtroom has a system in place for a reason, and rejecting help, especially when it's free and right beside you, feels like walking straight into a storm without an umbrella. So the question remains, do you see her as someone deserving of a little pity, or is this simply the consequence of choices she made herself? Either way, her moment of reckoning is fast approaching, and Judge Boyd looks ready to deliver it. Let's head back in, because the outcome here is about to land hard.